The NHL season is almost here, so today we will be predicting the Atlantic Division standings for the upcoming season.
All right, getting into this Atlantic Division. Before I say my 8, 7, and 6 here, do you agree that this was the hardest predictions to come up with out of the... Oh, well, we still have one more division ranking to do, but for this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of time. I'm still debating. Obviously, I think you're still debating.
I am too.
it's like, honestly, it's kind of difficult to find reasons why one team is specifically ahead of another team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's start it off with your 8.
Yeah, so I feel like our 8 is constant here. It's the Montreal Canadiens. The 7, I put Detroit Red Wings. And the 6, I have the Ottawa Senators.
At 8, I have the Montreal Canadiens. At 7, I have the Buffalo Sabres. At 6, I have the Ottawa Senators.
Okay, so a little different. All right, number 8, I think we both have the same. We'll just make it very quick. The Canadiens are still young, and it's still a little too early. They have a few good prospects coming up in the next couple of years where I feel like next year they'll make it all 8 teams tough. But for now, I feel like it's just a little too early. But what I'm excited for is I'm hoping he's healthy when the season starts. Patrick Laine to have a bounce back year.
Yeah, so what I have, like, basically, again, similar reasoning, still 1 or 2 year away, but Laine got injured as well. And overall, young squad, they're just, like, some players just need to get more experience for me to, like, put them in the conversation. But again, not necessarily the worst team last year again, because, like, they were in the 70-point range, which was more than I expected, I'll be honest with you.
I mean, looking at their lineups, I'm not that upset with even right now. I feel like they will surprise, like they'll be like the Anaheim Ducks from last year.
Exactly.
I'll say that. It's just that they happen to be in the hardest division in the NHL.
I have the Sabres at 7.
So yeah, it's tricky because I don't even have them in the bottom.
Yeah, the reason why I have the Sabres at 7 is just one, in terms of health, right? Like, Tage Thompson again injured last year, and was obviously one of the main reasons why the Sabres were in conversation the year prior to, like, the reason why they missed it by like 1 point and were able to break their long ass streak that was not making the playoffs. But again, there's big question marks in that for me. They don't have, like, did they have who they had before that year? Craig Anderson,
I think. Yeah,
yeah,
the
like,
year where they looked good.
Yeah, right. Like, Levi hasn't really answered many questions for me, and same with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
The greatest name in hockey.
The greatest name in hockey hasn't really answered a question to me. Overall, and one thing I found similar from this year, and even the year they actually did make it close, they tend to start off slow as well, which is obviously they're already behind the 8 ball, and it's gonna be tough to come back in this division specifically, which is already so tough. So that's probably a couple of reasons why I have the Sabres. That doesn't mean necessarily they're, like, they're dead on lock 7, right? Like, they're like, it's gonna be like, I feel like if you're 7th in this division, you might be like 2-3 points off of, like, freaking 4th.
So okay, I went with the Red Wings. Now I see why you have the Red Wings high. Because Tyler Mott is on this team.
Yeah.
I knew it. Those of you guys don't know, Jovin's a huge Tyler Mott fan since the Canucks days, so that's why. But obviously, jokes aside, you saying about their goalie tandem, I feel like the Detroit goalie tandem is much worse. And that's Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon, right? And Cam Talbot did okay last year. It was an all-star, but he had a good defense ahead of him, had a structure ahead of him. This Detroit team didn't have the greatest defense last year in terms of how they played, right? There will be a fun team offensively, that's for sure. So if you're looking for offensive firepower, this might be the team. They locked up most of their guys as well this year. But like I said, yeah, I'm not a big fan of how their defense was. I feel like last year was, I'm not gonna say an anomaly, but it was more so like they definitely were like how the basketball version of the Pacers kind of were. In terms of like they were high, like run and gun. Like in this case, I don't know how you say in the hockey version of that, but just like the 5 and out or whatever, however they want to play, right? So that's why I have them down here. Like their goaltending is not. I think it frankly might be worse than last year. I don't know. Their defense isn't the greatest for me, but their offense will help. That's the only way they'll be fine, as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll let you gas them up after.
Yeah, number 6, Ottawa Senators. For me, this team has kind of been waiting on taking a next step now. Like when are they gonna take it? It's supposed to be last year, the year before. It's supposed to be this year again. So like I guess we never really know.
Yeah.
Until like they actually start playing properly. Second thing is yes, they got a new goaltender. They got a Vezina winning goaltender, but there's still question marks with this goalie because number 1, he's up there in age. Number 2, he was playing behind the Boston defense, and number 3, he's been playing legit half the season because he had a goalie partnership with Jeremy Swayman, and that's not going to be the case in Ottawa. And how does he do over a full season? Like 50 plus games, 55, 60 game season, and where you have to be the number one guy playing with a much worse defense than you did in the few years you did in Boston.
So for me, I'm gonna counter that point for a second. I'm the one who did say like, okay, I'm gonna pump my brakes on the signing, this trade they made with Linus Ullmark because of that defense mainly, right? And obviously you put the Jeremy Swayman thing as well, which we'll talk about later. But for me, the other thing is he's playing for a contract, and contract year he might ball out himself. So we'll see how he does. But the reason why I have him at 6, I even considered 5 heavily ahead of the Sabres, foreshadowing that a bit here. Travis Green. And I'm not saying that just Travis Green is some Stanley Cup winning coach, but when Travis Green was in Vancouver and he first got Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes up, he built a culture. It was because of Jim Benning that team got ruined. It wasn't because of Travis Green. Maybe down the line, he may have lost the locker room a little bit because they were losing, but a lot of that was because of Benning and his terrible managing there, right? Like that bubble year, it was essentially his first takeoff year, and they decided to break that team up. And in this case, he's gonna get a culture set up. A lot of similarities to that team. To be honest, with you.
A lot of young guys.
Another Swedish goalie, Mark. Jacob Markstrom had a really good year. Defensively, that wasn't the greatest defense. Yes, Chris Tanev and Quinn Hughes, I guess, pucked out, carried a lot of that. However, and then on this side, and they have a young offensive firepower over there. Elias Pettersson that year. You bring in JT Miller, Bo Horvat stepped up. You bring in a guy like Tyler Toffoli in the middle of the year that year as well. Even though I guess because of COVID he didn't play much. I love their offense here in general. Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Claude Giroux, Josh Norris, who is injured at the moment. Shane Pinto's not suspended. So there's all of that as well for me. So because of that, I feel like this team can be primed to be a 5th place team as well. But for now, I just kept them at 6.
I think you hyped them up too much to be a 6th place team, I guess.
Because let's go to my 5 and 4. My 5 is the Buffalo Sabres. The 4 team is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
My number 5 is Detroit Red Wings. My number 4 is the Boston Bruins.
Wow. Okay. So my 5, Buffalo Sabres. Why I think they're better than the Detroit Red Wings. I just feel like I like the add of Bowen Byram in the middle of last year as well. Everything I said about about Ottawa fits with this team as well, because they've been going on it for a couple more years. Yes, you're right. The injuries, hopefully, we're obviously banking on them to being healthy, right? And if they are, I expect Tage Thompson to be better. I expect Tage Thompson to be the Tage Thompson from 2 years ago when Buffalo made that initial jump as well. I feel like that's the case in here. I think their goalie tandem is already better than Detroit. I said that already to you as well. And I expect like the young guys, they added a guy like Ryan McLeod, they added a guy like Sam Lafferty to help veteran leadership wise, and they're speedsters themselves as well. On forechecking, they could kill penalties. And defensively, like they announced Rasmus Dahlin as a captain, so they have their leadership committee officially set. And I just like their team. It just comes down to health, and hopefully they play consistently. The question is Lindy Ruff. They have a new coach. Let's see how Lindy Ruff is gonna do there.
Yeah, okay, so the reason why I had the Detroit Wings,
Red Wings,
the Red Wings. The Buffalo goalie tandem is not better than the Detroit Red Wings goalie tandem, but I'm not saying necessarily that Detroit goalie tandem is better as well. They both equally suck, and if I were to give it an edge, I'll give it to Detroit.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. Yeah,
that is because of experience, right? When you look at the Buffalo goalie tandem, you're looking at projection, you're looking at upside, right? And they have much better talent, they have much better upside. They have obviously they're much younger as well. But when you look at experience, that's Cam Talbot and that's Alex Lyon. And I think they have like freaking other goalies too. Don't they have like Willie?
Well, according to Daily Faceoff, that's their 2 goalies. Right,
they did not like sign like Willie Husso and like all those guys too.
I have no idea. Right now, that's their goalie tandem.
But he struggled himself. So like they went through a lot of goalies, a lot recently as well. I think they signed Nedeljkovic, that 1 year too.
Yeah,
as well, or they traded for him. But again, last year they took a step forward, right? The team that we least expected to take a step forward was the one that took the step forward, in Detroit Red Wings.
That's why I think they're going to take a step back.
Yeah, missed the playoffs by 1 point last year, I believe, or 2 points, whatever it was. But this is a team that I feel like is a team that goes on good runs. Like if they're streaky, that's the best way to describe Detroit Red Wings, in my opinion. And last year they went on a good streak near the end to make that playoff push, and they were so close. And again, this year I feel like they have the best offensive firepower, in my opinion, to go on those streaks. And I think Ottawa's right there, right behind them in terms of that offensive firepower as well. They're like honestly similar level, similar things again. They're not both good defensively. Out of all the three teams, Sabres are the best defensive team in my opinion.
Yeah, which is
I
why
think that's clear. Yeah,
head here.
But overall, I just feel like again the Sabres start off slow. They go on like cold runs. So does Detroit, but like I feel like when they're hot, in my opinion, Detroit is the better team. When they're like when they're on that hot streak, and that's why I have the Red Wings ahead.
Yeah, no, for me again another new coach thing there for Lindy Ruff. Let's see what he does there. We know his track record. He's back home. I guess how you want to say it. But here, okay, I'm gonna question you for something here. How much are you putting the Jeremy Swayman thing in effect as Boston being number 4, or are you making this prediction as Jeremy Swayman is in net already?
I am making this prediction as Jeremy Swayman is in net, but there's going to be a lot of drama.
Okay.
Right. I don't like. I never really hockey holdouts don't really happen much.
I've never seen it.
I think Nylander was probably one.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've seen. But overall, they got a major addition in Elias Lindholm. Right. They were desperate for a center, and he's not really a number one center, but
for that team,
he is clearly the number one center. And they added a major addition to the forward group. Again, also they added Nikita Zadorov and the back end as well, where a defense that's already solid. Again, similar squad basically with 2 big additions in the off season. Again, but the one thing you're messing up is your goaltending, and you traded away Linus Ullmark, which means that you gave Swayman all the leverage, and the way he played in the playoffs, he deserves to have all the leverage. So I don't understand why you're making this drama. Why you're making a situation worse than it already is with all this freaking calling out 64 million reasons why that I'll be playing for Boston right now. And the way that, you guys are acting as GMs, you can't give me 64 million reasons why to play for Boston right now.
So, okay, I went drama-free. So you're going to look at mine and be like, what the hell? If it was drama included, if he even doesn't even play.
But there's going to be drama.
Because Korpisalo is still a good goalie for this team.
But then there's drama.
True.
Now. You can't get away from that.
I feel like
there is drama.
I think he's going to sign. I think you agree with that. I think it will be fine. At the end of the day, he will get what he gets. All will be forgiven as long as he plays well.
But there's another thing you have to take into effect. Even if he does sign, right? Training camp's already happened, right?
True.
Preseason's already done. Like, it's going to take him a few games to get into the mix of things as well, which could like harm him with a slow start.
I'm personally not as worried with that, but I get where you're coming for with that.
Yeah.
But okay, let me go with number 4. I wanted Tampa, and a couple of reasons why I have them at 4. They're old. Like, I have nothing else to say. Mainly there. You add Jay Gensel, which I think is a great add, but you lose a lot of depth pieces there. Obviously at the expense of Steven Stamkos. And talk about drama, we don't know what the behind the scenes in Tampa is like when you let a guy like that go. There was already initial talk about that when he left and how it was all handled. Maybe letting him go wasn't the wrong thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how it was handled. Similar to the whole Bruce Boudreau situation with Vancouver. It was about how it was handled. But right now your top line is Braden Point, Jay Gensel, Nikita Kucherov. Your second line is Anthony Cirelli, Hagel, and Sheary. But this team reminds you a lot of Colorado in that sense.
Yeah,
too.
But after that, yeah.
Exactly why. That's why I have him down here. Defensive pairing, you already promoted your captain to Victor Hedman, which is rightfully so. You bring back a Ryan McDonough, but he's not the same Ryan McDonough. You lose Sergachev as well. A couple of years ago, yes, you won cups. Nothing wrong you've done there, but because of that, a lot of your players are already gone. Last year, they already took a step back. Vasilevsky gets hurt. I'm not a fan of their goalies after Vasilevsky in general. Maybe they're a team that has to go out and get another veteran guy to fill in. And the prospect pool isn't the greatest in general to come up that and a call-up, right? We don't have that call-up surprise for them that we know of at the moment.
It's clear, right? Like, this is the Stanley Cup effect now, right? Like, your main core is past their primes or getting up there in age. They're still very good players, like absolutely incredible players, and still can get the job done. But
we saw what Kucherov did last year to carry.
Exactly, right?
Like, it was a 50-point difference between him and number 2.
Yeah, and the main thing is this for Tampa Bay is when you're in Stanley Cup contenders, right, for like that long, like you're gonna have to like do so much cap gymnastics, right? And there's gonna come a point in time it's gonna affect you in the future, and like
we're seeing that with Vegas a little bit.
Yeah, we're seeing those effects right now. But I'm just gonna get into the top 3. My number 3 is Tampa Bay Lightning.
You have anything more to add there?
Number 2, I have Florida Panthers, and number 1, I have I forgot to change it from the last ranking. I wrote that Dallas Stars, but it is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
So okay, before I can say mine, do you want anything to add with Tampa at number 3?
Tampa again. The biggest question is, can Jake Gensel, and like their star players overcome the depth issues, right? Like at the end of the day, that is a big question mark. I expect Kucherov obviously not to have like exact same season, but like I expect,
I might kind of
honestly, yeah, it's freaking like you don't know, but like that top line should be able to carry.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? Like they just should be able to carry the defensive pairings. Yes, they've gotten worse with Sergachev, but they still have Chernak, right? And they're gonna have Vasilevsky from the beginning, from this year, which is last year. The reason why they started slow, they didn't have Vasilevsky.
But even with Vasilevsky, they were up and down. Like there were stretches where Vasilevsky looked like he was the Vasilevsky from old, and there were stretches where
and that has to do with his injury.
Yeah,
that had to do with his injury because in the playoffs he did not look like looked like the Vasilevsky of the old.
Exactly.
When he got into the thick of things. So like as long as again, one injury kind of like ruins his team, but overall, like when you have Kucherov, Gensel, Point, Cirelli, Hedman, Chernak,
you still have somewhat of the DNA
right?
there.
Like, you have the DNA, you have the culture, you have the coach, right?
Yeah.
And overall, I think these players are very capable of keeping this team afloat and or making the playoff spot. But one thing I want to say about this division is, like, in my opinion, there is a clear top 4 and there's still a clear bottom 4.
Yeah.
And right now we're getting into the top 4.
So I'll go with mine. So this is where we are very different. Number 3 for me, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 2 is the Florida Panthers, and number 1 is the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, so you're
So that's what I'm like. I made that reaction when he said Boston there. I actually initially had the Maple Leafs and the Bruins flipped, but I flipped it back. And the reason why I flipped it back, I'll talk about the Leafs here. They upgraded defensively by adding Chris Tanev. They added OEL, but I don't think they gave OEL top 4 money. We're not talking about contracts. We're talking about strictly next year. I don't think OEL is a top 4 player. The reason why OEL did so well last year in Florida is, 1, Florida is just really good at reclamations. And 2, he was a third pairing guy, right? Here, you're asking him to be a second pairing guy with Jake McCabe. And then like Chris Tanev is with Morgan Riley, and Morgan Riley's aging himself, right? So defensively, I still have question marks. I think they upgraded from last year, though, to be fair. Goalie-wise, the thing with me is Joseph Woll is still he's injury prone heavily. He's a good, talented young goalie. He's just injury prone. You did good by bringing Anthony Stolarz as the backup at least this year. So, but even then, a little bit of unproven. Like, I think this division, outside of a couple of goalies, have kind of like question marks there. And then for me, the forward group, though, again, the top 2 lines are are very, very good. In my opinion, they're obviously testing William Nylander at center. So let's see if that works this year. The other thing is, the other reason why I considered him at number 1, but I dropped him back, even though I like the coach pickup in Craig Berube. However, I think it might still take a little. It depends on how, for example, a guy like Mitch Marner will fall under his system. But we all know that, like you said last episode of the Central Division, this team is going to be tested in the playoffs. For the regular season, they're still going to be a top 3 team, and I won't be surprised how you have them number 1. I won't be surprised if that's the case.
So my number 2 team is the Florida Panthers, and the number 1 reason why I'm at number 2, cup hangover.
Yeah, that's my reason.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have the same reason, so I'll let you go with that.
And number 2, they lost a couple of pieces here and there. Like, they lost the Cousins, they lost Lomberg, the biggest one, in my opinion, is they lost Montour as well. But overall, still a solid squad. It should be able to get the job done. And, they're like, we'll see what happens. Like, again, it's going to be their start, how their start goes. If their start's still incredible, this team's easily win the division, in my opinion, again. But I feel like they're going to have like a little bit of a slower start, which is, normal after.
It's not even just because of the cup hangover itself, like the celebrating and all that. It's just because they had a long playoff run.
Yeah, they had a long playoff run. You lost players as well, and overall, those are the biggest factors. And obviously,
again, this is the team of reclamation projects. You add Nate Schmidt, I have no doubts in my mind.
You have Panthers at 2, right? Panthers at 2.
Huh? Yeah, Panthers at 2, and then Adam Boqvist. Everything you said is why I have them at 2.
Yeah,
it's pretty much. I just wanted to add Nate Schmidt and Adam Boqvist. They'll find ways to get them.
Boqvist will be a big one.
Yeah, they'll find ways to get them going. You still have one of the underrated pairings and underrated players in Gustav Forsling, along with Aaron Ekblad. And then, again, you have the best defensive center in the game.
Yeah,
Barkov,
exactly.
and Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart you brought back. So there's nothing much to add there as well. But number 1, I guess I'll let you talk first because I finished with the
Toronto Maple Leafs. Their defense is really, really, really bad, like really atrocious. And with one signing, they improved massively. and that signing is Chris Tan,
Yeah.
right? One of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL.
I'm gonna cut you off. Just to make it clear to everybody, we're not talking about the contract length.
Yeah.
We're strictly talking about this coming year.
Yeah, we're not talking about like the.
Like, we know it's a bad contract.
Yeah, we're not talking about the
in the long
signing.
term,
We're talking about the player.
We're talking about the player for this year.
That's probably that in itself like takes their defense from bottom of the barrel to like honestly I think it moves them 2 tiers above, like just with that one player in Chris Tanev, and yeah, he's gonna be playing a lot of heavy minutes, and we all saw what he did with the Dallas Stars last season, and in the postseason, like it was a big factor when he went out in the playoff run as well. For like those couple of games, they got destroyed, right? And coming into this Maple Leafs team that desperately needs defense is gonna be a big add. OEL I like in terms of yes, you got another defenseman here and there. He's coming off a good year. Well, it's just gonna be a wait and see process for him. Joseph Woll and Ati Stolars are probably the best goalie tandem they had in recent memory, in my opinion.
Which is true, but concerning.
Concerning, but true. Joseph Woll has proven that he is a great talent. He is a good goalie, and he's a proven good goalie. It's just that the biggest issue with him is, again, staying on ice. And Stolar's one of the best backups last year. I think him and Bobrovsky won the William Jennings Trophy, which is like the best goalie tandem, each playing minimum 25 games. And I expect Stolarz to play like, 25, 30 games. And if the Leafs are smart, they should give him like, honestly, I think they should go 40-40, in my opinion. If the Leafs are smart to like, preserve Joseph Woll's health. Like how the Bruins like, preserve Swayman and Ullmark, right? Like all these last couple of years. I think the Leafs should take that approach, in my opinion, as well, because I think Stolarz is better than like, the Mrazek, the Samsonov, and all these guys that they had in years past. And I think he'll be able to hold his own. And then offensively, I had zero issues. And regular season wise, zero issues.
I mean, I feel like what I'm going to say about the Boston Bruins, you're going to agree. I agree with your take on that. It's just like obviously just a different of opinion. Reason why I have Boston Bruins number 1. Last year, we both had them written off.
Yes.
Right? I believe we both had them 5th place, missing the playoffs or even barely making the playoffs.
But then they got better.
And this year they got better.
Yeah.
Off that, right? Say what you want about Elias Lindholm. When Elias Lindholm with the Canucks during the playoffs was really good.
Yes.
He may not be what Patrice Bergeron was for them. And
he's the closest thing you'll get.
He is, outside of Barkov, the closest thing to what Patrice Bergeron was for the Boston Bruins in the past. And he's not a number 1 setter, quote unquote. But we got to remember, yes, he's older now, but when Elias Lindholm was around talent, aka rest in peace, Johnny Gaudreau, and with Matthew Tkachuk, he had a career year. Last year, obviously he was an all-star, but it wasn't, again, he was just one of those forced all-stars.
Yeah.
But even with the Canucks, when he did play, he was fine during the playoffs. Like when he played around solid. And when he played the big defensive minutes, he played them. And he was fine.
He was effective, yeah.
He's a very effective defensive forward. What is this team strong in? Defense. You still have Brad Marchand there as a cultural setter. You're and I agree with this, you're pairing Elias Lindholm with David Pastrnak. David Pastrnak is a top 10 player in the NHL, in my opinion.
Yes.
And one of the top 5 scorers in the NHL, period. Right?
Yes.
And then on top of that, Pavel Zacha was your number 1. He's moving into the wing. You could adjust things around. But that's the forwards. Defensively, they were already good. Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, Brandon Carlo, all these guys. You add Nikita Zadorov. Big physical presence that fits. I'm not saying he's Zdeno Chara. He'll probably never be Zdeno. He will never be Zdeno Chara. Not even probably. But he's still a big physical guy that will hit, that will stand up for your team. And he could move the puck. Yes, he might have question marks. Like decision making wise when he does carry the puck,
and he could skate.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could skate with the puck as well, which is what the Canucks are gonna miss big time from Zadorov, more so than even the physical presence, in my opinion, because you could add that with a guy like Vinny Desharnais there. So because of that, their defense already you elevated that defense more with, and he's partnered with Charlie McAvoy on top of that. And lastly, yes, there's drama with Jeremy Swayman. If the drama continues,
there's 64 million reasons why there's drama with Jeremy Swayman,
and he's not signed. If he's not signed, I agree with you. I will drop him to 4, and I'll probably put Maple Leafs to 1 and Tampa at 3, sure. But for now, I still like, Korpisalo might not be Ullmark, but Korpisalo, when he was with LA and was behind a good defense,
even with Columbus,
he was really good. I still like that tandem there, and even if he has to start the year for now, I am comfortable with that.
And he's playing with a much improved defense.
And I hate saying all this about Boston, by the way. But they're still going to be a very good team next year.
The point with Korpisalo is the reason why he's struggling in Ottawa. They had no defense. Boston is completely opposite again. It's like the same reasons why I said concerns for Ullmark as well.
Yeah.
Because I bought in with the Korpisalo signing, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I bought him, because you got you fixed your goalie position, but at the end of the day, your position of preventing goals was just so bad. It was just more than a goalie that needs to be fixed.
But yeah, for being like last thing I want to say quickly, back to Elias Lindholm here. It was just a match made in heaven.
Oh
Literally.
yeah, it had to like.
So we'll see how this goes, and that's our Atlantic Division rankings. Again, a hard ranking. A lot of stuff could be outside of maybe number 8, and even that won't surprise me a little bit. A lot of flip flopping can happen during the year, health aside, obviously. But make sure you guys click on 2 videos that are popping up. Our Atlantic or Central or Western ones, Pacific and Central Division should be up here as well. Hit the post notification bell because we are dropping NFL content 2 times a week and on NBA content coming soon. Hit that subscribe button, follow our socials link down below. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.